to 9:30 p.m. You can reach us here at 973-327-3626. That's 973-327-3626. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/SoMore Radio. That's facebook.com/SoMore Radio. You can tweet us at SoMore Radio. That's at SoMore Radio. You can also listen to us on tunein.com. That's tunein.com. You can send us an email at somore.org@gmail.com. That's somore.org@gmail.com. As you know, on Fridays, we just lighten up the mood a little bit in the Village With Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. We give you some news, but we tend to play a little more music on Fridays just to lighten up your mood to go nicely and spectacularly into the weekend. And what is the SoMore quote of the day? Of course, we always give you the SoMore quote every day right here in the Village With Anselm on the South Orange Maplewood Online Radio Experience. The quote of the day: if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. So I want to get back to the article that was written in today's NewJersey.com Star Ledger, an editorial piece, an opinion piece, titled 6 Decades After Brown vs. Board of Education, New Jersey Schools Are Still Segregated. And this article was written by one of our own, yes, he lives in Maplewood, Walter Fields. And the article went on to say, what I've discovered in almost 2 decades as a resident of Maplewood and observing in neighboring South Orange is that race relations is performance art in which we engage in symbolic exercises of diversity in public settings that belie the true status of black children relative to their white peers. They are clearly evident in the shared public school district of South Orange and Maplewood. 6 decades after Brown, we maintain a school system where racial disparities are breathtaking and black students are disadvantaged in numerous categories. Recently, the school district was a party to a state court consent decree for its treatment of black special needs students and was cited as one of the state 10 worst districts for segregation of these students by race. The district has also been cited by the American Civil Liberties Union for discriminatory practice in students' enrollment that harm immigrants, and in the case of our school, mostly Haitian students. These are just 2 examples of the betrayal of the principles of Brown evident in our public school. As early as elementary school, we began to hear anecdotes and see patterns of emerging disparate treatment of black children, and black boys in particular. This is consistent with recently released U.S. Department of Education data that reveal the degree to which black preschool-aged children are disciplined relative to their white peers. In middle school, the racial stratification is reinforced as black students are steered towards lower-level courses as they contemplate high school. By the time black children reach Columbia High School, they enter a building where de facto segregation exists and racial separation is evident, particularly in the placement of students in advanced honors and advanced placement classes. For example, in 2011-2012, 72.7% of Columbia High School AP Mathematics students were white, compared with 14.4% black and 3% Hispanic. The disparities were nearly identical in other AP courses. What makes these statistics particularly sobering is that Columbia High School is now majority black. Class assignments are the results of low expectations of black students that take the form of discouraging their pursuit of tough courses and persuading them to be content with less challenging curriculum and classroom experience. While outward manifestation of this type of racial targeting might be subpar academic performance, the possibly most damaging long-term effect are self-doubt, lack of confidence, self-loathing, and feeling of group inferiority. Another potential negative outcome is the embedding of privileged attitudes among white youths, which is counterproductive to the construction of a society of equals in the new demographic reality of the 21st century American. Some black parents opt out of the school district rather than subject their child to injury. As we celebrate Brong, we must re-engage the fight for education and equity in all Jersey school districts. Walter Fields is a former political director for the New Jersey NAACP and a convener of a new black parent organization in South Orange Maplewood School District. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the new article titled by 6 decades after Brong versus Board of Education, New Jersey schools are still segregated. Now, whether you agree or disagree with the article, I think the time is right for us in South Orange and Maplewood to have frank discussions. Now, the Community Coalition on Race is having an event on May 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. And that's going to be held at Temple Shari Tefillah, Israel, located on Scotland Road in South Orange, from 7 to 9 p.m. Implicit bias. Who, me? That's what we will learn about the discussion at this year's Conversation on Race. How are implicit bias at work in our lives, and how can we create change? Presentation by Elizabeth William Riley of the American Conference on Diversity, followed by small group discussion. You can call 973-761-6116 or send an email to info@twotongues.org to get more information. Now, I am happy that the Community Coalition is actually having this conversation on race. And we have to get to the point where is that we don't start to vilify people. You don't start to attack individuals because they put something on the table. That's what this life is all about. Many of us, this society is made up of people of different opinions, different ideas. If you see things that are wrong, what's wrong with us trying to come together to correct that? What's wrong with that? And I tell you, it is so disappointing when you go to Maplewood Online and you read some of the comments by some of those parents, some of those same parents who all of us, many of us in this school district go to school with their kids. I mean, if they could write these type of things on Maplewood Online, what are they telling their kids behind the closed door and then sending them to the schools? You see, I really don't believe that many of the adults that's writing these things on Maplewood Online truly understand what they are doing and their mindset. Why do we have to write these things? You may disagree with an opinion. That's fine. But when you have to call, it's called ad hominem attacks. It's like you attack a person when you cannot shoot their point down. When you think you don't agree with their point, you go to the lowest of the lowest to attack those individuals. Why is that? Why is that? We all live in this community of South Orange and Maplewood. We all want the best for the community. I will go on a limb and tell you that in the almost 99% of the individuals that live in this community of South Orange and Maplewood wants the best for these two communities. I will go on a limb and say that. The majority of people want the best. But sometimes it's the 1% of the negative individuals that has a significant impact. So when you see these type of comments that these parents are making, because they are parents, they are making, it just makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. You know, I mean, just as an example, one person. So according to this guy, subpar academic performance is solely the result of external factors and has absolutely nothing to do with opening a book. And who are the black parents who are opting out of the school district of which he speaks? Now, does he know whether it's true or whether it's false? But the important thing is that let's try to see how we can solve the problem. Let's deal with the problem. We can go back and forth regarding this article. It was written, this article. You can call these guys all kind of names. How does that solve anything? How does that solve anything? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't. I mean, we took our kid and sent him to boarding school. He was going to Columbia High School. A male sent him to boarding school. Because we felt, as a male, and looking forward to college, boarding school was the place that will make him a better student. What's wrong with that? Why should that be a problem? You know, and these vicious attacks, by these parents. It's just unbelievable. And some of them, the person they're attacking, they may not even know the individuals. There's no facts. They just read an article, read a story, and they go off. I'm not going to attack anyone. I believe that in this community of South Orange and Maplewood, there's things that needs to be done. There's work that needs to be done. You know, I remember something. I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, and at one point, they were going to talk about racial balancing in South Orange and Maplewood. And I remember this vividly. And they were going to pair Seth Boyden with Tuscan Elementary School. And it was a big uproar. Some people were saying that Springfield Avenue is too dangerous to cross. They can't allow their kids. They sell drugs in the Quick Check. I don't want to send my kids over there because the Quick Check has drugs and Springfield Avenue is too busy. However, this district had a person by the name, I don't remember her first name. I know her last name was Davenport. And she came up with a brilliant idea because they wanted to racially balance Seth Boyden School. Brilliant idea. And that was the idea, to pair Seth Boyden with Tuscan. But then she came up with a brilliant idea to make Seth Boyden a demonstration school. And when you hear demonstration school was similar to a magnet school, well, I have to tell you, Springfield Avenue was not a very busy street anymore. The drugs went away from the Quick Check, and parents were now clamoring to send their kids to Seth Boyden because of the education Seth Boyden was going to provide their kids. It happened. It happened. I was part of that. It happened. But these are the type of things that we're talking about. What's wrong if we all are trying to get an education where every creed and race finds an equal place and an equal education. What's wrong with that?